Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Tom. I'm part of the customer trainer team here at Employment Hero. And whilst everyone is still jumping into today's session, let's go ahead and go through some housekeeping. Now, you might have noticed as you are joining today's session, as always, that your microphones are on mute, but that's only to help reduce distractions and noises so that we can get the most out of today's training and we can run to time as much as possible. And whilst this session is geared to those going through an implementation of Employment Hero, all are welcome. This is a public webinar, so whether you are live and launched or new and just checking us out, you are welcome to. Now, if you do have any questions throughout today's session, please utilize the Q&A area of Zoom. Pop in your question there and we can answer those questions that come through. If we don't get to your question straight away, we're not trying to ignore you. We might just be simply trying to align the answer to a more opportune moment. Otherwise, at the back end of the session, we'll take a look at some of the most popular, outstanding questions before wrapping things up. Now, if you do have a question, that either is comes to mind later on, you have options to reach out to us after the session has wrapped up. Whether you are implementing, whether you are live, whether you are new, as you can see on the screen, you can still connect with us. This also applies to organization-specific questions. We won't be answering those types of questions, just more of those general feature questions anyway. So this is where you can also connect with the team later on too. This session, however, is being recorded and you get a copy of the recording about an hour or so after the session has finished, delivered to the email that you registered with. With all that being said, and I can see a lot more people have joined in, which is awesome for this session. We are now going to begin. And hello again, my name is Tom. I'm part of the customer trainer team here at Employment Hero, and we're going to go through our part two of our recruitment training series. This is the one that we're going to focus on how to create a role as well as how to manage our candidates. If you haven't yet attended our part one session, please register as soon as you can. You don't want to miss out on that one because we do cover more of the settings side of things there. In this session specifically, we'll go through the whole process of creating a new role. Then we'll go ahead and post that role and the ongoing management of our posts. Then we'll go through our integrations with email and Calendly. We'll then touch on email communication, the variety of methods, then the management of those candidates, and finally land in the plane with our reference check tool. So first up, I'm going to walk you through all the steps needed to create your new role in recruitment. Now, the stages of creating a new role is a four-step workflow, and these steps include adding in your job details, whether it be the job title and the description, things of that nature, then adding in your ideal hiring criteria, then adding in your screening questions, and then finally finding your candidates, which is where you can select your job boards to post to. So let's get started with creating a role. Now, just as a baseline, as a reminder, my platform is based on is a demonstration platform based on the highest tiered subscription. So if yours looks a little different, that might be why. To get to our recruitment module and start creating a role, we're going to go to our sidebar, click recruitment, and then click recruitment again. This will bring us into the ATS. You'll see an overview of all the roles that you have posted, and a progress of where candidates are at in the progress of their role. But to get started, we're going to select the little Add New Job button. This will bring us directly into the flow. Now, while you can absolutely fill out the fields from scratch, we actually have this top element here. This is a natural language processing search bar here, and we can pop in a prompt to quickly get started. Now, if as you continue using this, using the platform, you will also be able to quickly create roles either by copying from an existing role that you have recruited for. If we click New Search, we can also do the same where we're using the details of an employee profile as well to be pulled through, as well as if we are using our positions templates that we did go through in our part one session, we can use this as a bit of that blueprint and have those fields automatically pre-fill as well. However, for today, we are going to use the natural language search bar here. This is powered by our recruitment agent. And once ready, you can go ahead and click the purple arrow icon, and this will pre-fill the details based on the prompt. Our engine will understand, and this is great for when you might be recruiting for the first time or as a once off. You can have something quickly generated for you. Now, this page is broken up into three elements. We have that natural language search bar at the top. We have the fields that we're going to apply and fill out to the left. And then to the right, we have a live preview, which will automatically update as we change the details. Now, whilst our AI engine has pre-filled a few things, we can absolutely still change up parameters if we would like to. So for example, the job title, we might want to change that. We might want to add in that it is based in Melbourne, for example. That's where I'm recruiting for. And maybe I want to also say that it is full-time too. I might also add an additional tag for my own purposes. There we go. And you can see that that has pre-fill updated for us. Now, below that, we have this little checkbox. If we wanted to make an expression of interest role, we can. What this will do is it will A, tag it as an expression of interest role in the title, and B, when your candidates apply through this role, they'll automatically be added to your talent pool. If you'd like to manage that separately, then feel free to just leave that unticked. We're going to scroll down. We're going to go to our employment details. We can see we can change the job type. There's a few options for us, and as well as the working hours too, full-time, part-time, and casual if applicable. Now, the experience level here is what we defined in our part one session. This isn't visible by the by the candidates. However, you can select the most appropriate one. If you don't find maybe an experience level that you need, just this isn't managed within the create a job flow. Rather, you'll need to go back like we did in our part one session, go to your recruitment settings, add in the experience level, and then you'll be able to select it. The group field, that is it's optional, but including it will allow you, if you do onboard someone through the recruitment module, the group that you assign here will automatically populate when as you do onboard that successful candidate too. The available positions is just for record keeping purposes. It's not reportable in any way. And then we get to this checkbox that this is an internal role. This checkbox, what it will do is when we do get to the job posting stage, it will only show our careers page. And when we do click through, it will only post into our Employment Hero work app for our internal employees to apply only. However, if we don't know whether this is going to be an internal role or not at this stage, we can leave that unchecked and make that selection later on, and I'll show you that. Below that, we then have our workplace type. We have three to choose from, whether it be on-site, hybrid, or remote. If we select remote, we then have a couple of additional fields that are included as well. So we have a location requirement and an optimized job title checkbox. Now, when it comes to remote work, this is something that's quite popular. And if it is a remote job, making sure that there's visibility for your candidates is going to make your advertisement stand out amongst the rest. So if you have that optimized job title checkbox clicked, you'll see on the right-hand side, it adds a tag that it is remote within the job title. You can choose to not include it if you don't want to. I'm going to include it. And here we've got some location requirements as well. So we can have it set up as either um, anywhere in the world where maybe um, you're a global company and you don't mind where employees are based, a time zone, which is X amount of hours within a particular time zone. So this is perfect for hiring for across a specific region, let's say from New Zealand to Perth. And then we have country specific as well. Now, it is worth bearing in mind that this location requirement is only applicable to the Employment Hero jobs board instead of the other jobs boards. Scrolling down, we then have the job description. Now, this job description field, as you can see, is already pre-filled for us because of that natural language search bar. Now, if you were filling fields out from scratch, you can absolutely use our default templates by clicking that import a job description. This is a bit of a library of some examples that you could choose and browse and search for as well. This doesn't store your own job description templates. You could use our position templates feature for that instead. But this is where you can browse those. You can use the generate a job description button to also help build out a job description. And if you're using the natural language search bar, you have this AI suggestions button where clicking so on the um, right side here, you'll see those suggestions which you can make a selection from. Click into apply. It'll show that it's applied. You've got a quick undo button that lasts for 10 seconds. And then you have those changes highlighted for you within the job description. But as always, you might have already come pre-prepared. You've maybe worked on a job description or you've already got one pre-prepared that you want to use. You can absolutely paste that in. Just bearing in mind, like in this instance here, depending on the job, on the external program that you do copy and paste from, so specifically Microsoft Word, their bullet points won't translate. As you can see, there's a difference between the two. So you may need to just go ahead and remove those ones that look a bit funky and then use the ones that are built into the platform like so. Scrolling down, we then have the ability to add in a position description. I do have a position description ready. Let's just pop in that one there. And this one here will actually feed into the hiring criteria and will be used to assess and score candidates as they do apply for the role. And also, you can choose to share the job description with candidates on the Employment Hero, your Employment Hero careers postings too. Scrolling down, we then have our pay rate. So I'll just add that in. Where it can be yearly, monthly, or hourly. It's important to note with the hide salary from applicants checkbox underneath that, this is only for job boards as the platform calls out via the info icon that support it. Specifically for both LinkedIn Premium and for Seek, this checkbox does not apply. If you did want to include the salary to be made visible from on Seek, this you'll need to enter in the salary description field when you do go ahead and get to the posting stage. This follows the exact same logic if you were posting directly on Seek, and I'll show you what that looks like. Below that, we then have our contact details. This one here. Now, this is only for the job boards to contact you rather than the candidates reaching out to you directly. If you do need to supply an email address to candidates, so they can contact you for further information about the role, you'll need to add it here in the job description. Once you're ready and filled out all these initial fields, go ahead and click Create a Job. If you do have any questions for us, please don't hesitate to let us know. Now we get to the second step of the hiring, creating a job process. This is where we're going to create our hiring criteria. But first off, based on the information that you have provided in the first step, this is where our Hero AI, or our recruitment agent, I should say, will analyze and create some hiring criteria parsed from the information that you've entered for you automatically, so you can get started pretty easily too. Here this is where you'll have full visibility and control over how candidates are scored against your job. You'll designate what is a must-have and what is a nice-to-have. You can edit these as at will and remove them if they are not applicable for your role. And you can add more criteria too if you wish. So all this being said, you can really tailor exactly who you want to look for within an ideal candidate. Okay? And we'll see this scoring later on when we do go ahead and take a look at our candidates. This brings us to the third step in the process, which is adding in our screening questions to the role. Now, this is Employment Hero's screening questions. The reason for that is that Seek has its own screening questions, and we'll show you that very shortly. But to get started, we can see here that we can click to generate the screening questions using AI, using our recruitment agent. Again, looking at the information we've already entered in, it will create some screening questions for us, which is pretty handy, as you can see here. Otherwise, if we did have a template, we can always go ahead and select the template that we created in our part 1 session. So we can see some of these get pretty much spot on. We can always edit these as needed. So we can change these out, whether we're making preferred answers and enabling auto disqualification too. Now, it's important to note that there are 2 different ways screening questions can be applied to your job posting, depending on what job board that you are posting to. So what I mean by that, candidates that apply via the Employment Hero careers page, Employment Hero jobs, LinkedIn limited listings, they'll be asked to fill out the screening questions as the final step in the application process. And if any have been marked as required, as you can see here, they will not actually be able to hit that final submit button until they are filled out. For all other applications through job boards, for example, LinkedIn Premium, Trade Me, or Ethical Jobs, these screening questions will be posted afterwards for them to apply. And I'll show you what that email looks like later in the session too. Now, Seek's got its own screening questions, as I mentioned, and I will show you what that looks like. So Seek is a bit of a special case. Below that, we can then toggle on our equality, diversity, and inclusion survey. Giving that a click, we can preview what that survey looks like. Again, it's that optional survey that is sent out after a candidate applies. And just to note, and as a bit of a reminder from our part 1 session of the results that come through, they are completely anonymous. You will never be able to identify which of your candidates have filled out the survey and what their responses were. And that EDI report is aggregate, which means you do need at least 5 participants to respond to that exact same metric in order for the data to appear in the report. For both of the screening questions and this EDI survey, you can edit these at any time, even after you post to a job board if they do need tailoring. If you have any questions for us so far, please let us know in the Q&A. We're going to go ahead and click Save and Continue. As you can see, we now have saved those elements and we've reached the final step of the basic workflow, which will be posting our job board. Now, if you are happy with the default hiring process plus adding in your hiring team later on, feel free to select your job boards that you're going to post to and post. Otherwise, maybe if you wanted to change the hiring process right now, or maybe you want to align the post with your own recruitment schedule, you can go ahead and click Finish without posting. That's what we're going to do here. We're brought back into the role where we can just move away and wait until we are ready to go ahead and post. So that's what we're going to do. And for now, we're actually going to take a look at selecting a hiring process first. So if we go to the roles ellipsis up at the top here, we select the ellipsis and we can go ahead and select Edit Hiring Process. This is where you'll be able to change that hiring process to something that you want to use. And you'll be able to add in, this is where you'll be able to apply some evaluation templates that you created in our part 1 session. So if we go to interview, for example, we can go ahead and click manual interview from template, add in our templates, click import. As mentioned in our part 1 session, this will parse it out into sections. So each template will be its own section for clarity. You can always edit these as you need and apply an overall starred rating to, and go ahead and click save. And this will apply it to your apologies. This will apply it to your hiring process stage. Now, on top of this, we now have an AI note taker. If I do click Learn More, here, when it comes to our evaluations, you can choose to include this using our recruitment agent. If you do decide to toggle it on, this will then, if you do choose to schedule an interview using our event scheduler, which I'll show you later on, a note taker will join the conversation and be able to annotate those and record the conversation for you without you needing to manually add that information in. We'll keep it on for now. Rightio. On top of this, we also have our recruitment agent appearing in review section 2. So perfect for volume recruiters or maybe stretched out HR teams who do need to claw back a bit of time. Think of your recruitment agent as a bit of an assistant. If you're alone, you have now have a buddy to help you as well. And this recruitment agent automates the time-consuming parts of recruitment, specifically this initial screening phase, so you can focus on making valuable connections with the right people rather than the paperwork. So you'll notice when you do open a role, there is a recruitment agent button that will take you into this place. Even after posting to a job board, you will be brought here to update your hiring process as well. From here, you can choose which stage you'd like to apply it to. Now, the agent will create a structured AI video interview tailored to your role description. It generates questions, suggests questions based on different key areas, whether it be motivational, behavioral, situational, or role-specific types of questions. You can edit these as needed, view the scorecard as well, and this gets automatically updated as you edit questions or add new questions in as well. This ensures that interviews are fair and consistent and are relevant. You can absolutely preview what it's going to look like as a candidate from a candidate experience as well. So click that preview as a candidate button and it will send out an email to you to preview that look and feel of the platform, of the experience too. Once you're happy, go ahead and click continue to candidates. You'll notice that on this stage that you have enabled it for, there is a little sparkly icon. And when a candidate moves from the previous stage to the stage with the recruitment agent enabled, an automated pre-prepared email that you can absolutely tailor the template towards, as we covered in our part one session, will be there for you, ready to send to that candidate. And then that will invite them to participate in the video interview at a convenient time for them. On top of this, once you do move a candidate to this in review stage, you will see an evaluation tab then appear on that candidate's profile too. So with that being said, let me go ahead and show you an example.
What excites you most about working in the hospitality industry?
I love the vibes of the people, man. That's why I'm here.
Could you expand on what you enjoy most about working with people in hospitality and how you bring that into your customer service day to day?
Now, as you can see from this really corny example here, the recruitment agent actually listens and responds in real time and then actually asks follow-up questions to probe a little bit further if um, the candidate is being light in its responses. And that way, it will encourage to get more out of that candidate and encourage the candidate to provide a star response to. Once all those questions are complete, the candidate does submit that interview. It's sent back to the agent under that evaluation tab, as you can see here. This is also where you can resend the invite if the candidate misses their email. Each candidate's responses are reviewed and scored against transparent criteria here. So every applicant is assessed consistently and objectively. You can watch video responses, review transcripts, and see exactly how the agent has ranked the candidates by performance. And this gives you that interview ready candidate shortlist, saving you lots of hours of manual screening time whilst maintaining quality and fairness. This is available to all mid to higher tiered subscriptions with a default set amount of credits that you can use that you can top up if needed. Jumping back into our slide, into our demo platform. Now we do totally understand, we all know that recruitment is still a team effort involving multiple people, right? So one more thing we can do before we'll post the rollout is we can select which members that we want to be part of this roles hiring process. So coming to our roles ellipsis, we're going to select invite hiring team. We went through this in our part one session, but this is again where you'll be able to add in your hiring managers and collaborators into your role. As a reminder, your hiring managers will have more ability to, when maintaining the role and the candidates, as compared to your collaborators who are just there to provide input about candidates. Click Save to lock those in. And now let's go ahead and post the role. If you do have any questions for us, please do let us know in the Q&A. Okay. Now that we've added all of those elements in, let's go ahead and post the role to our connected job boards and any ongoing management that might be required. Jumping back in, we're going to navigate back to our main role using the breadcrumb trail here. Now we can absolutely always go to the main ellipsis and select edit job if we wanted to do a once over of all of those details we added in when creating a role. We can absolutely do that. However, if we just wanted to post, we can go to promote job. This will bring us into that fourth step to post the role to our jobs boards. Now, if you remember, we did have that checkbox to mark a role as an internal role only. But if we didn't select it, this is where we can choose whether we want to make this a public or internal role here too. So if we select internal, our careers page will be the only job board available. And when we click to post, it will only apply to our job careers page in the app for our employees to apply for only within the Employment Hero app. Otherwise, maybe what happens if we don't find someone that we within our organization, and maybe we want to open this up later on and post publicly. All good there. Just come back to this same place. You'll be able to select public. That will open it up. And then you can again select the job boards and then it will be posted publicly too. Let's go ahead and select a few job boards to post to and click continue to post. Now, Seek has quite a lot of fields, so we'll go through all of these. It's really important to note that all this additional information here is extremely important to fill out correctly, as not all job fields within the job details section do pull through. That's because each job board does have its own required fields that need to either be manually selected or entered in. So we'll use Seek as that example here, seeing it is one of the most popular job boards to post to. So we'll select our duration, then the location. We'll select the industry. Just as a reminder, that Seek has a subcategory as well. So you need to make sure that you select the subcategory too. You'll pop in the job summary. This is what will be seen in Seek's search results under that your job posting. The pay range is pre-filled for us, so that's for our search parameters. But importantly, the salary description field is left blank. This is where if we wanted our salary description to be readable by our candidates and have that visible to them, we would enter it in here. If we leave it blank, it won't be shown in Seek. Scrolling down, you then have our advertisement types. Now, this will pop up once all the prior fields have been pre-filled first. Now, it's important to note for pricing, this is up to date for Seek's current pricing model. However, should you have a different agreement with your Seek account manager, please don't worry, your agreed rate will still apply instead. If you do have any questions about billing and invoicing regarding Seek, please reach out to your Seek account manager because Employment Hero doesn't have anything to do with how you are charged. Select the appropriate advertisement type that you want to select. You can pop in a recruitment contact phone number similar to the email contact number. This isn't for candidates to reach out to you. It won't be visible to them, rather for the job board themselves to reach out to you if there is an issue or if they need to contact you. Below that, we have the advertisement brandings that we can select. Now, it's important to note that these are housed in Seek itself. So if you do need to make adjustments, then you will need to go into your Seek employer page, do the update there, and that will then pull through into Employment Hero. We can add in a billing reference number. This will appear on your Seek invoice. So it could be the name, purchase order number of a cost center if you want to. Now, depending on your advertisement type that you selected, you can add in key selling points if you wish and the video URL. And lastly, we get to Seek's screening questions. Now, as noted in step 3 of creating a role, Employment Hero screening questions do not apply to Seek. These Seek-specific screening questions is what will override those former screening questions that were created for all other job boards. When your candidates do apply for the role, they'll then be prompted to complete the questionnaire as a mandatory part of their application. So I've just added in a couple of questions here. We can change the question type from long answer to drop down or multiple choice. We can add in our options. So let's go ahead and, whoops, how many years of experience for this role? We could say maybe 0 to 1 or 2 to 4 and add one more in 5 plus. We'll still be able to enable preferred answers and auto disqualification for the drop down and multi-choice options. Now, it's important to note two things here. Firstly, due to Seek's API with us, we aren't able to save these as templates to load in. You'll need to do this manually for each time you're posting to Seek. And the second thing, as we do call out here, you will not be able to update the screening questions once posted to Seek. This is in line with their terms and conditions of how they operate their job board. So please note if you won't be able to change this once you have posted. You won't be able to enable it either too if you post without turning on screening questions. So if you forget to add in screening questions at this point, the Employment Hero screening questions will still apply but aren't sent automatically. For now, we're going to go ahead and click Save and Continue. And if you do have any questions for us, please do let us know in the Q&A. We're just going to fly through ethical jobs for the moment. Ethical jobs is more based around sort of social work, health-related, community engagement types of roles. I've added it in this example for a specific purpose, which we'll see very shortly. So I'm just going to fly through that. Now, again, it might feel like a bit of a double up of additional information, but once all these specific data fields have been selected, we can go ahead and publish to the job board. As mentioned earlier, this is where it will kick us straight into the hiring process for us to change it. So realistically, you can go ahead, go through the the quick step flow and post to the job board to just get it out there. And then you can always, you're redirected here if you wanted to make other adjustments thereafter. Now, for roles that have been posted to job boards that we directly integrate with, whether they be Seek, LinkedIn Limited Listings, and Employment Hero Careers, your job posting should go live within a couple of minutes. For all other job boards, please do allow up to 24 hours for your job to appear live in the job board. So whilst you might have immediately posted from Employment Hero, it can take some time to appear on the job board, depending on how each job board itself accepts and processes the posting. For example, Indeed does do postings in batches every 4 to 6 hours as well. So do take note that each job board has its own processing timeline. Additionally, when you're posting for the very first time in Employment Hero, regardless of which job board that you do select, the role goes through a vetting process by our product team before being posted to the job board. It will stay in pending and gets reviewed roughly 10 a.m. every weekday Sydney time, so that way we can ensure the postings are legitimate and are coming from legitimate organizations. Once that initial vetting process has finished, all subsequent postings for all your roles will be posted as normal, typically within a few minutes. Let's jump back into our demo environment. And we're going to check on the status of our job posting. So to do so, all we'll need to do is jump into the roles, the main role view. We'll go to the ellipsis icon in the right-hand side for the specific role, and then we'll be able to go ahead and select the Promote Job option again. This is where this will show you all the job boards that you've posted your role to and the information about the status of each job or of each posting. Now, you will notice that there are 5 status types for your job posts. There's pending, which is awaiting processing by the job board. There's submitted, posted, like we can see here, failed, and expired. And expired is when either the advert closes organically from the duration or we go ahead and close the job board, the job ad itself. Now, there are going to be many reasons why the job posting status is anything other than posted. So if we do hopefully refresh the page here, I'll show you an example of what I mean. Okay, might have to wait a brief moment. But basically, if you do go ahead and click the View Details button, you will see an activity history area of that particular job board, and you'll see the status of that advertisement. And there's that info icon. This additional info icon will give you more context around that status too. So if it's been failed, it will actually tell you some additional information about that and could be the result of an incorrect job board configuration in your recruitment module that you can correct. So let me see if I can refresh my page one more time to highlight that for you. There we go. Okay. So we can see here that for ethical jobs, because I don't have a legitimate connection because I've got a demo platform and I don't have a legitimate account with ethical jobs, it has failed. It's told me that it's the wrong username and API key. I would need to go into the job board's configuration and make sure that it is correct. And then I can go ahead and click retry afterward. Now, if your job posting is still pending, please just wait up to that full 24-hour period, as sometimes it's the external job board itself taking some time to process the listing, especially in peak times. So, with that being said, for our careers page and for Seek, you will also notice an advert hyperlink right next to the name of the job board. Clicking so will bring you into the live role. So let's go ahead and click for Seek. We can see here, we can see our role. If you remember, we didn't add in the salary, so that's not visible there. Now, this is not just accessible here on the main page, but if you do click View Details, you'll also see the View Job Advert link too. These are the only 2 job boards at this stage that support a live advert link within our ATS. For all other job boards, you will need to search that job board directly to see what it looks like. Now, when we do go ahead and click View Details, you'll see a little bit of a overview of the performance. So whilst we can absolutely use our reports, we can still see some individualized information here. That activity history, including how many applicants had applied for that particular status of that role too. Rightio. Now, there might be instances where you might have posted your role and you notice a spelling error in your job description, or maybe you forgot to add your salary to your Seek posting, for example. And we do need to update a few key details. How are we going to do this in the ATS? Well, there are two ways to update your job posts, and this really depends on what changes need to be made and which job boards the changes do impact. If it's just an additional field specific to the job board that needs updating, such as forgetting to add the salary to the Seek ad, you can just simply come here within the Promote Job area, select the job board that you want to update, and then go ahead and click Continue to Post, and update that specific job board posting. Otherwise, if it is the main job details that need to be updated, we'll need to come back out of back into the main page, click the ellipsis icon for that particular role, click Edit Job, come back into the flow, and this is where we'll be able to adjust our job details. So for example, we can see here that we forgot to update our bullet points. So let's go ahead and correct that and make it nice and consistent. Like so. So now that we have this nice and consistent, let's go ahead and update the job boards. When we do go ahead and click Save and Continue, and we'll just move straight to the last step, we can see that it flags with us that there are updates available. This is because when we do update the main roles job details in the ATS, this doesn't automatically send those updates to the job boards. This actually requires you to manually confirm that too. We leave that up to you to confirm. So select the job boards that you want to update, then go ahead and click Continue to Post. Just make sure that you cross-check the additional information fields here to make sure nothing else that you updated within the ATS does need updating here too. So let's go ahead and actually add in the salary for Seek. Like so. Scrolling down, we can go ahead and click Publish. Now, it's important to note that by updating basic details like your job description, this doesn't incur an additional charge or be considered an additional posting. However, there might be instances where a change in industry or location in those additional fields could be considered a new post by the job boards specifically. In those cases, if you have any questions about the terms and conditions of your job boards accounts specifically, do go ahead and reach out to your respective account managers. So with that being said, let's go ahead and check on the status of our roles. Again, going back to Promote Job, we can view the details. We can see that activity history. Click to view the job again, and we can see that the salary is there for Seek. And even for our careers page too, we'll be able to see that in the job description, the bullet points are nice and coherent again and consistent. If you do have any questions for us, please do let us know in the Q&A. Rightio. Let's now move on to the external programs that we integrate with, specifically email and Calendly today. So once you begin to receive new applicants and review their suitability for their role, you're going to need a way to communicate with them. And this is where you can connect your email account to Employment Hero. You can do this at with any candidate throughout any stage of your recruitment process via the email feature. You'll be able to connect either your Microsoft or Google account to the ATS to send emails directly to your candidates. So let's jump back into our demo environment. Let's come back out of this particular role, back into the main recruitment page. And we're going to go to an open role that I already have going. Let's go to a stage where we've got candidates. Now, with any of our candidates here, we can go ahead and select the email icon. So on the candidate toolbar here, we can see there's an email icon. Give that a click. And in the email function, you will see that we have this from field. And by default, you'll see the default email address being something like ats-notifications@employmenthero.com. Give that an update button a click, and this is where you'll be able to select to sign in with either your Google or Microsoft accounts. Clicking to do so will redirect you to your login page. And once you have connected, it will then change the from field to be from your own company email. You can absolutely disconnect and reconnect an email at any time. And if you were using a shared inbox, which is entirely possible, we just recommend before you connect, reaching out to your IT team to ensure that your inbox does have sufficient permissions. Otherwise, the connection will fail. Now, it's also important to note the email connection is uniquely linked to each person's HR profile, rather than one person connecting to an email account for the entire module. So if there is more than one person that needs to email candidates from your recruitment module, each individual user will need to connect their email or their shared inbox when they're in their own view of the recruitment module. The next type of integration I do also want to call out is our Calendly integration. This allows you to connect your account to Calendly to be able to schedule interviews directly from your HR platform. Calendly essentially is a bit of a booking page system where you can create custom booking pages based on your set availability for you to send to your candidates as a link. They can then just select the most convenient option based on your availability, streamlining how you can schedule candidate interviews and saving you time in improving the candidate's user journey. So when you do first click the connect button, you'll see a pop-up appear, which will redirect you to log into your Calendly account. If you don't have a Calendly account, it will prompt you to be able to create one from that flow. And then once you do, it will then be connected to your account. So if we do jump back into our demo environment, that Calendly button is in the email feature and it's underneath the attachment icon. The next time you give it a click, we'll reestablish that connection and it will pull through any of your Calendly events straight into the email. So let's go ahead and select one as an example, and you can see it's shown as a link within the body of the email too. So this is extremely powerful when you do use it to send bulk emails for interview scheduling, as it does avoid the back and forth between contacting candidates to schedule an interview. Now we have spoken about the integrations. We are now tying or this does bring us neatly, I should say, into how we can communicate with our candidates and the ongoing management of our candidates too. Again, as a general reminder, if you do have a question on the platform, please do let us know in the Q&A. Okay, we've connected our accounts. Let's go ahead and show you how this email feature in just a little bit more detail. So firstly, your account that you connected with will pre-fill as in the from field. In the to field, this will pre-fill from the candidate's overview. This is the email address that they used to apply for the role. We'll be able to select a template. Even if we tweak the template, we can either save this as a new template or replace the current one. So we can do that on an ad hoc basis. We can add in hyperlinks if we'd like to, or we can add in more placeholders as we had covered in our part 1 session. You can add attachments and the Calendly links as well within the body of the email before we go ahead and sending it out. Now, when we do send out emails, this will be found, this will actually be stored also within our activity notes as well. So as candidates reply, as you send out emails, you'll be able to see those messages come through all tracked within one centralized location. So either in the activity notes up at the top candidate toolbar or by scrolling down, we will see our candidates' emails here, you can see. And as candidates reply back, they'll also filter back through. And also, even if you, as a recruiter, reply within your email client, that will also filter in here for all to see so that no matter who jumps into this role, they know exactly what communication has occurred with that particular candidate. Now, not only can you send emails individually, but if we use our bulk selector icons against our candidates list here on the left, we can, from our bulk actions, also send bulk emails too. We'll be able to see candidates that have been selected. So if maybe one was added by accident, we can remove them and we can send out messages in bulk. Really great if we are leveraging our placeholders, so we're speeding up, saving time. Next, beyond that, is our another feature in relation to emails is the ability to schedule events with your candidates. So if we do cancel out of this, with any candidate that we have here, on the candidate toolbar up here, you'll see an icon that looks like a calendar. Give that a click, and this brings up our schedule event feature. This is an enhancement to our existing email integration where we have the ability to schedule an interview directly from the recruitment module itself. Particularly useful if our organization isn't using the Calendly feature, as this will send out a calendar event attachment straight to your candidates. Now, it's important to note that as this creates a unique link, this cannot be done on a bulk basis, but rather done on a per candidate basis. So if we do see here, in our attendees list, the first attendee is the candidate that we selected to schedule the interview with. We can absolutely add in more people from our organization if needed. And also what we can do is we can add in an external email as well if we wanted an external panelist to be part of the interview as well. select all of these, we'll get that calendar event attachment sent out to them. We can then start pre-filling the time of the interview. So let's just say it's going to be for Tuesday at 11:30. And then we'll pop in our end time as well at 12:30. We'll see that the person who has initiated this flow will be the organizer of the event. We'll pop in a event title. Add in a meeting link. So if you are connected with either Microsoft Teams, you'll see the ability to add in a Microsoft Teams link. Or if you're connected to Google like I am, you can add a Google Meet link instead. As mentioned, you can enable an AI note taker as well. This generates those questions or it records the interview. It generates answer bullet points per questions and speaking stats too as well. We can add in if it's a physical location address, we can add that in the location field instead. And then we can add in some additional information within this particular interview. So if we do pop that in, we can add in an attachment as well or hyperlinks. So let's say we could add in the job description if we'd like to. So let's add in job description, for example. We can go ahead and click send invitation. You can see here that the platform confirms that this is being scheduled. Give it a moment and it will appear in your activity notes as well. So it might just take up to usually about 30 seconds. Let's go ahead and refresh the page, see if we can, that has then applied. Not just yet. That is okay. But as you can see here, this is what will pull through into the event. So in this example, we can see that it lists all the details, including the meeting link. We can see the attendees list, including who has responded. The status will change. So we can see that I've accepted, whereas the other ones have not yet. We can see any attachments as well. And we'll be able to edit the meeting as well if we need to reschedule the time. So if we click edit, we can update the invitation, which will also update the email calendar invites to your particular attendees. Or we can cancel the interview altogether by clicking delete instead. Let's go ahead. We've given enough time. We should be able to see the event that I had just organized. Yes, I have. So as you can see on the candidate sidebar here, when it has been confirmed scheduled, you can see a handy little reminder against that candidate too of when that interview's been taken place. And as you can see, we have our event here for us. If you do have any questions for me so far, please do let us know in the Q&A. Now, I do want to touch on quickly another way we can communicate with candidates, which is our in-app messaging feature. So as candidates do apply for jobs using the Employment Hero Jobs app, you'll be able to communicate with them via instant messages via the app. So using the little speech bubble icon in the candidate toolbar, this will bring a pop-up to the right. Now, these pop-ups for both email and messages will always show the communication log of between candidates and recruiters too. So not just within the activity notes, but down at the bottom, this is where you'll be able to send your message to your candidate. It is in-app rather than a text message. And hiring managers and collaborators will be able to utilize this and see the message history too. However, as mentioned, if you didn't want collaborators from communicating with your candidates, then you can absolutely turn this off in your recruitment settings, as I showed you in our part one session. In terms of what they will see when they do receive this notification, they'll get an email advising that there is a message for them in the app, and then they'll be able to go into the app and see their message, and they'll only be able to respond from their Employment Hero jobs profile. Rightio. That's the communication side of things for candidates. If you do have any questions for me regarding those elements, please do let me know in the Q&A. Otherwise, we are going to now move on to the other types of file actions that we can take against candidates. So here within the employee file, we'll be able to see there's a ellipsis for that specific candidate in the right-hand corner, where we can edit the candidate's information if they have updated information for us. We can also, we have some additional bulk or additional features like moving them to a different job if needed. This won't move the actual application across. It will just copy what's there and place it in the new role as well. We can add them to the talent pool, individually send a screening question reminder, individually block them from applying further before and further on, and this will also automatically disqualify them, as well as deleting them from a job if they request to withdraw that information. On top of this, you can see on this profile here, you'll be able to, under the summary, update the employee's details here. This is often going to be blank if they applied from another job board other than Employment Hero. But this is where you'll be able to update their CV and cover letter if they provide you with an updated one. This is also found in the CV and Documents tab too. And the beautiful thing about this is that you also have the ability to upload some additional documentation here. If you choose to add any documentation here, and you can add up to 5 at a time, 5 to the candidate. If you do decide to onboard from the recruitment module, those additional documentation will pull through as well. So again, a bit of efficiency gains there. Otherwise, if the document isn't really pertaining to, isn't needed in the successful candidate's employee profile, and it's more to do with the recruitment process instead, you can absolutely just add it in your activity notes using the attachment icon and have it visible in the activity log as well. On top of this, speaking of the activity log, this is also where you're going to be able to view any evaluations that have been made by your hiring team against the candidate as well. You'll be able to view that information, and you'll be able to complete those evaluations in the evaluation scorecards area here too. So this is where, if we click that edit button, we'll be able to fill out these fields as well. Once we do fill that out and click submit, this will then in turn place a new updated record in the activity notes as well. Now, whilst there are individual actions, there are also some additional bulk actions. We already covered one being the bulk emailing feature, but let's quickly list off the other bulk actions we can take. So if we use the selection boxes against a candidate, we can see a bulk actions button appear where we can bulk move them to a different hiring stage. We can bulk move them to another role. We can bulk email them, as I mentioned, and bulk message. But importantly to note, if if the system detects that certain candidates don't have they don't have the Employment Hero Jobs app, they don't have a candidate profile with Employment Hero, they will be not supported. And we do recommend just using the bulk email feature instead. We can resend screening questions. We can bulk block, bulk delete, and bulk disqualify as well. Now, with the bulk disqualify reason that we give for all the candidates that are selected, this will apply that one reason to all of them. Within this flow, however, you can absolutely send an email in bulk to those candidates, as well as bulk adding them to the talent pool if needed to. Now, you would have noticed two things that I kind of skipped over. The first being the screening questions reminder. If I do, in terms of screening questions, if we do take a look at the screening answers here, we'll be able to see a tab where those screening answers reside that the candidate has provided for us. On top of this, if we have opted to connect to a job board where they don't, where the invitation to complete the screening questions is done after the applicant submits, you can remind them to complete those screening questions as well. That email will look similar to what you see is on screen, and you can absolutely tailor this to your own organization's framing in your recruitment settings as well. Jumping back into our demo platform, I did gloss over one new feature that we have just introduced, which is this request information button here. If we do give that a click, we now have the ability to send a request to complete some additional information before the end of the recruitment process. So if you do need certain certifications in particular, or maybe address information, you can absolutely request that here. The certifications that are available will be what you've already stored in the recruitment in your platform. So let's go ahead, and I believe I've got one for first aid, maybe. I might not. That's all right. We can always add in a new document. So as you can see here, if you haven't got something in your platform just yet, you can absolutely add in the new document that you'd like them to provide you with. But what will end up happening is if you send the request, this will send an email to the candidate, and then they will have a little portal that they can supply you with that information with. Also, within the profile here, we have our candidate summary. If you remember, if we circle back to the hiring criteria we set up for when we initially created the role here, every applicant will get scored based on the hiring criteria that we had set up. It will, regardless of any source, our recruitment agent will read through the past CV, their profile, and see how well it's matching to your customized hiring criteria. We can see those scores appear against the candidates on the candidates list, as well as the summary of that candidate's profile. and then individual match score as well. And we can go ahead and look at the match criteria as well. That way you can save a huge amount of time starting with the highest ranked shortlist of the best candidates for your role, and interviewing spending more time on what really matters, which is interviewing great candidates. Now, if you did maybe, for example, update the hiring criteria, that will update in turn the candidate's scoring, as well as if you update the profile here in some way, this will also update the candidate's scoring as well. And each stage is its individual silo that we can click through, and we get more detailed, comprehensive actions. However, for a more streamlined view, in the top right-hand corner, you'll also see a little toggle between stage view and board view. If we do click to go into board view, this is basically a Kanban style of viewing the role. So we can see all stages appearing and all candidates at every single stage too. Now we'll be able to click in and view their profile, but just bearing in mind that we won't be able to complete certain actions like updating the profile or sending in reference checks to candidates too. But this is a great option as an overview of all candidates across stages. And you can absolutely easily move candidates about very easily by dragging them around the different hiring process stages. So because we want to land the plane with reference checks, we'll move back out of stage view and move on. If you do have any questions for me so far, please let us know in the Q&A. Rightio. With that, let's go ahead, finish off today's webinar with reference checks. Now, the reference check feature, it allows you to manage your candidate's references in one centralized location under the candidate's file. You'll be able to request the number of referees that are required for from your candidates, be able to make contact with them either via email or phone call and make notes on the referees' responses too. Now, the process is in 5 stages. We start the verification and request the referee details. Then the candidate provides their referees. We can then contact them and review the results. And then finally, the verification is complete. So let's jump into the platform and show you what this flow looks like. We're going to start off with our candidate Scully here. We're going to go to the reference check sub-tab, and we're going to start the verification. This is where we can then go ahead and select the number of referees that are required. Once we do, we can go ahead and click send request. And then that will send out an initial email to our candidates to start providing their referees. So from a referee perspective, the email will look similar to what is on screen. However, you can absolutely tailor this to your own organization's framing, but importantly, it will say the role that they applied for, the company that they applied for, and then the link to submit their referees. Once they do click in the email, they'll be able to supply their references. Now, if they apply via their careers page, they'll just log on. Otherwise, any candidate who doesn't have an Employment Hero work account, they'll need to supply you with one, or they'll need to create one in order to supply you with their referees. So if they hadn't done so, they'll just need to create an Employment Hero Jobs account using the same account email address as the one used to apply for the role. Once they've created their account, they can supply you with their referee details. Once they do, we're now going to go ahead and start contacting our referees. So jumping back into our demo environment, we're going to take a look at Gina now. We're a little bit further in the process. We can go ahead, click continue, and this is where we'll be able to contact our candidates. We'll be able to choose from either completing a reference check online with them and complete the reference check either via email or via phone call. If we do select the phone call option, this will pull through the referee details where we can still edit these if needed. And then we'll see a preview of what that email that gets sent to that referee looks like. It's important to note with the call option that this will need a Calendly account integration. This is because this inserts a booking reference link within the body of the email. Now, if that isn't an option for you, you can always go ahead and click email. The email option instead, again, it will allow you to adjust the referee details. But if you remember, we had created some templates for in our part one. We can select those and we can see the questions that have come through and we can still edit these as needed. And when we're ready, go ahead and click save. When we click save, it's important to note that this does not send the email notification. Instead, to confirm sending that email, you'll need to click the actions ellipsis and then click send email. Now, in terms of the email that gets sent via the email option, the communication mode, it will look similar to what you see on screen. It's a standardized email. Again, you can tailor this if you want, but importantly, it has, again, the role, the company they applied for, and who that person is as well, with the link to start the questionnaire. From the candidates, from the referee's view, unlike candidates who need to create an Employment Hero Jobs account, referees will be able to submit their reference responses without signing up to Employment Hero Jobs. However, there are protections in place in order to detect if the candidate tries to complete it themselves. The platform will alert you if it detects when a candidate supplies you with their email address that they applied with, and if their referee has used the same IP address, device, browser, or OS as well. Lastly, we can then view the reference responses. So if we do jump back out of this candidate and we do go to one who has one completed, so we'll go to Wacky here. Here's right at the very end of the reference check process. We can see our referee has supplied their results. We can click view to view the results and also make notes as well against that reference check. When we do go ahead and click mark as done, you'll notice here that you'll also be able to provide a rating to finish and round out the reference check process. And with that, we have now finished today's session and the content portion. Before we do finish off though, I do want to remind you that you have access to the Employment Hero Help Center. This is your knowledge hub and your go-to resource for any and all information regarding the HR platform. You'll find support articles, videos, and ability to register for more webinars such as today's, or maybe later down the track when we do update the platform and you need a refresher, you can absolutely come back. On top of this, hosted on Go1, if you have access to the Go1 platform via the HR platform, you can learn Employment Hero interactively too. Simply search for Employment Hero Learning Hub within Go One. You'll find the many courses to learn about Employment Hero that we have on offer for yourselves and for your employees too. We go behind into the why behind your platform setup. We have not just HR related content, but also payroll features too across multiple regions. So do have a look when you have a moment. Finally, let's call back to some of the key takeaways from today's session. Firstly, leverage your AI recruitment agent throughout the process of your role creation, the screening stage, and the interviewing process too. You can use the natural language search bar to quickly generate job descriptions and help with your hiring criteria. You can use the recruitment agent for video interviews and AI note takers during the hiring stage as well. You'll be able to connect your Google or Microsoft account to send emails in bulk and track candidates' responses directly in the platform. And you can also take control of your candidate scoring by adding in hiring criteria so you can easily identify candidates that stand out as they apply. With all that being said, we have now reached the end of today's session. If you do have any questions for us after wrapping up for today, please, as you can see on screen, there are still ways to connect with us. As a general reminder, you'll get a copy of this recording about an hour or so after the session has ended too. But from me, thank you so much for joining. It's been a pleasure taking you through the recruitment module today. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you in the next webinar. Take care for now. Bye-bye.